All right. Hey, everybody. We are live. Yes, I'm sorry. I know I promised you a guest tonight. We had every intention of having a guest here tonight, and it ended up not working out. I forgot there was a half an hour between youth group and live stream. So the person I had lined up to be here left after youth group. So I'll let the cat out of the bag. It was Elise Turner was going to be here with me tonight and just talk to you guys. And I know one of the things that we talk about in this group a lot is getting to meet people. So I thought, well, I'll bring somebody for you to meet, somebody who's interesting. And she's been working with youth group, and we're having a great time up there. And she had to go because she had Veda with her, and her mom was waiting in the car, so she had to take off. So, all right. Hey, everybody, get in the chat and talk to me. I miss all you guys. Somebody jump in here and talk to me. I want to hear from you. And we are actually going to get to Max Lucado tonight after 3 weeks. And, hey, Skylar, you've missed exactly 30 seconds of content, so I think you're going to be okay. I'm going to do some shout-outs and do some stuff here, but we're going to give everybody a chance to get in. So, yeah, everybody jump in the chat. Tell me how you're doing tonight. I want to hear from you. How's everybody doing? And shout out. We had a good youth group meeting tonight. We had 22 kids upstairs, and it was pandemonium, and a lot of fun though. So, you guys here at Wayne Street, I hope that you're proud of your kids because you have a fantastic group of kids here. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because I'm paid to say that. I've worked with youth groups in a lot of different contexts, and you guys really have a special group of kids here, and you should be really proud of them. So. And I'm glad I get the chance to be with them, and I hope they learn as much from me as I learn from them. I'm not sure everything I learn from them is good, but you know we're all doing what we can. So, all right, let's give some shout outs. Hey, Scott Moran, happy Wednesday to you. Val McAllister, thanks for sharing Sean with us tonight. I think Sean had a pretty good time as well. Sean and Parker and I had a pretty good conversation about State of the Church. So, I mean, not Wayne Street, but State of the Church Universal. And had an interesting conversation with that. Amy Hogshead, happy Wednesday to you. And Amy did not have her, she only had her preliminary appointment for her teeth. Her appointment is March the 9th. So everybody be praying for Amy. She's going to be losing some wisdom teeth on 3 of her wisdom teeth on March the 9th. Hi, Anna Kay. Good to see you here tonight. Hope your eyes are doing well. I know that's been a struggle for you, and hope you're feeling well. Tina and Mike, good to see you as always. And, yeah, Amy Hogshead, March 9th, going to be having surgery. Everybody needs to pray for Teresa as well. She's getting a new knee, I believe, on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to keep Teresa in your prayers. Hi, Daryl. Good to see you tonight. DW, my man, how are you? Let's see who else we got here. Dave and Amy Jessen, good to see you on tonight. Hey, Suze, thanks for coming. Jack and Cheryl Miller in the house. And Jack got to have a Sunday school class back on Sunday, and they were having a pretty good time in there. They had a mysterious guest who joined them in his robe from church for a little bit. And I think we I always appreciate hearing whatever Jack has to say about, whatever's going on. So I'm really sorry that Elise wasn't able to stay. I mean, I understand that she had her kids here and stuff, but you guys would appreciate getting to meet her. I may try to get her on some other time. So Teresa, Tim, you're special. I hope that's a good thing. And take me solo. That's good because that's all I got to offer you tonight. Skylar, glad to have you here tonight. Teresa, doing well, counting down 7 days to surgery. Yep. Sometimes the waiting ahead of time is almost worse. So hopefully we'll get that knee feeling better. He was sharing a little bit of that with me, and I interrupted him for this. Well, tell Sean I'm sorry that I took your attention away from him. And okay, Skylar. Also, my fiance Braden joined me tonight for his first time. Hi, Braden. Glad to have you in here. We're going to be talking about a book we're reading. And don't worry if you don't have the book. I'll fill you in on what's going on. We're going to talk about one of my favorite gospel stories tonight, because I never say that, but yeah, so good. Anna Kay, doing well. Eyes are the same. Tooth extraction tomorrow. You and Amy Hogshead are in the same place. Broken off cap. That sounds awful. I've had a lot of teeth problem myself. My dentist keeps telling me, you have a really stressful job, don't you? Because I just grind the heck out of my teeth. So Yeah. So, and yeah, welcome, Braden. Thank you, Teresa, and prayers for Anna K. So, well, good deal. I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I did not watch 1 second of the inauguration today. I didn't watch any of it because I'm sick of it, and so I have no comment. I specifically didn't watch it because I wanted to prevent myself from getting on here and ranting about it, which I've been known to do. And so I stayed completely away from that, and I have nothing good to say about any of the politicians, either side, anyway. So I'm just going to let it be, and just keep praying for our country. I we'll just say I have concerns. I have concerns, and I'm not talking about administration. I'm just talking about politics in general. As ugly as it's getting, it's just no excuse for that. You're on either side, and I'm just tired of it. And that's why I specifically didn't watch it, because I didn't want to talk about it tonight. And look what I'm doing. So I'm going to stop doing that now. That's Anna Kay. That is exactly the problem. I just don't even know who to believe anymore. That's right. I feel like everybody's lying to me. And I even said that to somebody earlier. I said I didn't watch any of the inauguration today because if I wanted to, go have somebody lie to me, I'm going to go hear at least a fun lie to hear. So that's why I was out on that. So, all right. I also want to make you all aware, and actually I want to invite you, if any of you are interested, on Saturday. Some of you may have saw my email from Monday. On Saturday, I've got a couple of projects lined up, 2 projects, in fact, and I didn't mean to line them up at the same time, but sometimes life is funny about how that goes. We're going to be working with Joyce. You all remember Joyce? She joined us a number of times back earlier in the podcast or the live stream. She hasn't been able to join us because she has her internet shut off because she's moving. So that's why we haven't seen her for a while. But Joyce, the one that the party always follows, is moving. She's only moving. She's over near Kroger. She's just moving down here, actually closer to the church. So she's not going anywhere far, but she has got to get her stuff out of the house. So Saturday morning, we got a group of guys and some trucks that are going to go over and move boxes. Now, what she's told me is the furniture and the big stuff. She has a professional moving company coming. She just basically needs boxes carried out of her house. So if any of you could give a little time, we're going to meet here at the church and just drive over. She just lives right around. She just lives like half a mile from here, maybe, and drive over to her house and do some work over there. So if any of you would like to join us, we're going to meet here at the church at 9:00 and head over. I'll also tell you the other project we have going on is, and this one will be kind of I don't think it'll take very long. We're working with the Family Life Center here in town, which is the pro-life ministry here in town. We're trying to help moms and babies because that's just a good thing to do. So we're a part of that. And down there in their facility, they have this a wall divider that's down there that makes it really hard to get to the bathrooms. So we're going to go down and take that wall out. Luke Yale and I, Cool Hand Luke, who's in here, and I went down and looked at it last Thursday. And we're making that project on Saturday morning. So again, if you want to help with that project, you get your pick. We got demolition and we got moving, or some combination of both. So if any of you who would like to, do a little service and then don't mind getting out, we'll be doing that on Saturday morning at Joyce's house and down at the Family Life Center. Both of them, within a quarter-mile radius of here. So just a couple opportunities. We'd love to have you join us and help and have some fellowship and do a good deed and help out a great organization and help out a great lady. I mean, honestly, what's better than that? So, all right. So those are just a couple of things that are coming up. Teresa says, I did not want to watch any of the Washington Yahoos either. You're way nicer than me, Teresa. I'd have picked a worse word than Yahoos, but we all know you're a nicer person than I am anyway. So, all right. So the story we're going to read tonight that Max goes over, and I may get back and reference a little bit of this, is I'm in – where am I at here? I'm on page 111, and we're on chapter 14, which we've been trying to do for 3 weeks now. And we're going to do chapter 14, and your faith has made you well. Now, the story that Max kind of follows through here is, the lady. You guys have all heard the story. It's the lady. Jesus is on his way to heal the child of an important. What's the word I want? Yes, it's been a long day. A dignitary. That's the word I'm looking for. The child of a dignitary, somebody who was very, very important. His name was Jairus, and Jairus' daughter was sick, and so Jesus was on his way to heal her. So as he's on his way to heal her, there's a lady who dealt with some female issues, some bleeding, and she said, "If I could just touch the hem of his robe, I'll be made whole." And so it's amazing that Jesus does a miracle. I mean, again, I don't know how you do miracles. I don't know what it was like for Jesus when he put the hands on the eyes and the guy could see, or he touched the guy's legs and he could stand. I have no idea how that is. I don't know if he had to concentrate. I don't know if he I have no idea what that was like. But this story is so interesting in that it happened, and Jesus was like, "Yo, who was that?" It wasn't like there was any intention. There was not a Shazam moment. There wasn't anything like that. And then Jesus turns around to Peter and goes, "Who touched me?" And Peter was like, "Are you for real? We're walking through this crowded marketplace here. What do you mean? How could we possibly know?" And Jesus says, "Well, I felt power go out of me. Now, what does that feel like? You got me. I don't know what that was like." But so Jesus healed this woman with no intention. And again, I'm not saying he wouldn't have healed her had she spoke to him, but the healing happened before Jesus knew anything about it. And I think this is one of the coolest healing stories, because it tells us something very, very specific about Jesus that I want to bring out tonight. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit before we start working through the chapter. Is in the ancient world, the way clean and unclean worked. And again, you want to think of it. This is a very poor analogy, but it works. Is you want to think of it like germs, okay? If you have a sterilized, like say my mouse here is sterilized, okay? If my mouse here is sterilized, and now I got menus popping up. My mouse here is sterilized, and then I cough on it. The mouse is now no longer sterilized, okay? That's kind of how contamination worked in the ancient world, much the same way. So if you had something that was ceremonially clean, or something that was, prepared to be holy or whatever, and it came into contact with something that was unholy or impure or unclean, the contamination is what went forward. So if you read like in Leviticus or some of the Old Testament stuff about, pot's got to be clean and you got to do all this stuff to it before you can use it for these other purposes. And there's these just infinitesimal rules about how you purify things. And the idea is if you do all the steps, you get everything purified, and then something impure happens, the contamination goes forward onto whatever the sterilized object is. Again, much like germs. If you get a surgeon, and you've all seen, hospital shows where the surgeon's like scrubbing his hand, he's scrubby, and then when he walks in the surgery room and he's holding his hands like this, and he walks in there. Now, if something happens, like somebody comes along and coughs on his hands, he's got to start over. Because the sterilization on his hands is not strong enough to overtake that. That's just not how it works. That's right, Daryl. Go wash your hands. Somebody tells you that every week, and so that's not at all how contamination works in normal things. Because it's normally the contamination that goes forward and contaminates whatever the clean thing is. Well, this story is really one of the only places where the opposite happens. Because under normal circumstances, had Jesus been, ceremonially clean and done all the stuff, and he was all holy, if she would have touched him, even in a crowd, even if he didn't know it, by her coming into contact with him, under the way the rules worked, he would have been defiled. Okay, he would have been contaminated. He would have been unable to, be set aside as holy in the temple. But that's not what happened. In this one isolated moment, this lady touched Jesus, and instead of Jesus being contaminated, the cleanliness actually went forward and cleansed her. That's the very cool thing. So what that would be like is again, suppose my mouse here is cleansed. This would be so cleansed, and I'm just going to drop it on my desk here. This mouse will be so cleansed that if I go forward and touch something with it, now instead of this being contaminated, what I just touched was cleansed. So if this mouse comes into contact with my face, now my face is no longer contaminated. The purity of this actually passes along. That's what happened in this miracle, is that when she touched Jesus, the purity from Christ went to her and took away her defilement. That is not how it works. You know, if a surgeon does the scrubby on his hands, and then he goes forward and he picks up the mouse, it would be like the mouse is now cleansed. You know, if my hands are clean, then I go touch your hands, now your hands are clean. Well, we all know that ain't how it works. However, in this case, it did. And that's what the really cool thing about this is. And that's why it's so amazing that Jesus healed this woman without any intention. Again, I'm not saying he wouldn't have healed her. He just didn't mean to. It was like an accidental healing. And that's the amazing thing, is instead of Jesus being defiled by her, she was purified by him, which is the exact opposite of how it worked. And that's what the healing miracles of Jesus all show for us. When he went forward and touched lepers, people with leprosy or skin disorders. And instead of Jesus being defiled, the person who was already defiled under the law, and I'm not making any judgments there, but the person who was already defiled under the law was actually made clean. He has the power to make purification go forward. That is absolutely not how it worked in any other situation. Okay, somebody get in the comments and tell me, does that make sense what I'm explaining to you? Are you following me? Jesus is so pure, and he contains such purity of God that when a defiled person touches him, instead of him being defiled, the defiled person is cleaned. That's why we call the guy the Messiah. That's why his title is the Son of God, is because that's what you do when you're God. Okay? I don't have the power to do that. I can go washy my hands, and I can pray, and if I touch you, you're not going to be any cleaner than prior. So that's what this shows us, is Jesus has a power that none of us have, which I know that's not exactly earth-shaking news, but he also demonstrates this power so magnificently that he can do it by accident. So in a situation, like I said, that he should have been defiled, he actually purified the other lady. How cool is that? Hey, Gretchen, glad to have you here. I hope Elise is here. Elise, we missed having you. I'm sorry you weren't able to stay tonight. Everybody's disappointed because they thought they were going to talk to you. So everybody tell Elise that you want her to come in and join us some night. Everybody get in the comments. Tell Elise that we want her to come and join us. So, hey, Marcia and Joe, we're glad to have you too. So that's the really cool thing about the story that Max talks about tonight, is it was the fact that Jesus's power went forth and cleansed her, which again is not how it was supposed to work. And yes, Scott, that's exactly right. Because again, when Jesus turns around and says, "Who was that?" Peter was like, "Dude, are you for real? There's like all these people here." And so the difference is that so I'm sorry, with all those people who were there, she's the only one that got healed. Because Jesus, when it happened, and again, I don't know what that experience was like, but somehow he knew it. But there was a lot of other people who were in this confined area and bumping up against Jesus. Nobody else was getting healed, so it was only hers. So you're right, Scott. Her faith definitely played a role in that, and so which is very, very cool. So, yes, there's a lot about her faith in Jesus and her saying, if he just touches his garment. Yeah, Teresa. And again, she said that prior to the resurrection. So she was putting faith in. See, we today have the advantage of hindsight. She didn't have. And she still put that much faith in him. How cool was that? Elise is busy with bath time. Well, you tell Elise that we missed her, and I really wanted her to be here tonight. And because all these people who are here would have had a lot of fun talking to her. So. And Anna Kay is calling for Elise to be here. So Gretchen, you tell her she's not getting off the hook. We're going to get her on here some night after youth group. So, all right. So with all that said, and my ADD that's going on here, we're going to look at what Max had to say. And that's one of the things, and Scott kind of referenced this too, is he, you know, in my example, the one difference that it made in this lady's life, the difference that came along was the fact that she said, "I want to touch the garment." That's what Teresa said. And when Jesus then finally spoke to her, when they went through there and the disciples were like, "Okay, who did it?" And basically she had to fess up because that was the only way they were going to find her. That's what Jesus said to her. Your faith made you well. And what a great story. So, all right, well, let's get up here. So, one of the things that that this lady had to deal with, and I got to have a particular experience of this back during the last 3 times now. I've been down with my abdominal surgeries, and the one I had over the summer. Max says she woke up with a body that nobody wanted. Okay, she was hurting. And I know a couple of you here. I mean, like Amy Hogshead, probably not happy about with the wisdom teeth. And I know that Anna Kay, not too happy about the tooth extraction. I know Teresa, not real happy about the knee replacement. I mean, we can all say we're glad we were able to do those things, which of course we are. But, if I had my druthers, my druthers would be, my knee would be fine, or my teeth would be fine, and that kind of stuff. And I know some of the tooth pain I've had and some of the abdominal things I've had with the surgeries and things. All things being equal, I'd have preferred not to have that happen. And that's what this lady woke up with every day. So I ask you, do any of you identify with that? Woke up in a situation you would definitely prefer not to be in. Anybody want to say a what up to that? I wake up in a situation that I just so much would prefer not to be in, whether it be your health, whether it be a relationship, something with your job, something with whatever's going on. I'm just waking up in a relationship or a situation that I just wish I was in something else. Anybody do that? Gretchen's there. Yeah, Valerie, I know you do too. Anybody else? Anybody else can identify with this lady waking up in a situation you prefer not to be in? Teresa, I done gave you an example of yours, and I'm sure there are others. Yep, Anna Kay. Yeah, we all have been through seasons when we're like, man, I just wish we could skip this. And I wish we could get past this. I mean, how many times have we said that even over the last year with the stupid COVID thing? We just like, man, can we just get on with it? Just let's get on for something else. And Skylar, I see you. And that's hard. And this lady was to the point that she says, I want to be free of this. Yep, Scott, those are 2 pretty good examples. DW is probably thinking about Kroger right now, or else he's thinking about having to deal with the pastor down at the church, one or the other. But these things are difficult, and sometimes they can make us feel lonely, and that we're the only person that has to deal with this. Well, friends, that's not true. All the way back to Bible times, there was this lady whose name we're never told. She also dealt with a situation that she would have preferred not to have to deal with. But for whatever reason, that's where she was. And so she decided to do something about it. And what she decided to do was something that we sometimes neglect to do when we are dealing with these difficult situations, is she decided, well, I'm going to go be next to Jesus. Now, I know y'all are watching the pastor's face on your screen, and he's talking about stuff. So of course we want to go be by Jesus, but level with me. When things are not going well and haven't been going well for a significant amount of time, can you honestly look me in the face, since I'm right here, look me in the face and say, yes, when things aren't going well, that's what I want to do, is I want to reach for Jesus. Now, I know some of you are probably going to say yes, but look, I want to speak for my own self. I can't say I've always felt that way. I can't say that's what I've always done when challenges come along. I wish I could say that's what I did. And I know that's what I should have done. But, it's hard. And you got to realize this lady, according to the scripture, has dealt with this problem for 12 years. 12 years. 12 years, which means if she started, if what happened to her in this situation happened today, she would have been dealing with this since like 2009. Okay. How long ago was 2009, friends? That's how long she's been dealing with this. And, yeah. So yeah, I see you guys, and I know, and I'm not saying y'all are a bunch of heathens who never reach for Jesus. I'm not trying to suggest that. But we also know, and look, this guy here knows it too, is that sometimes we neglect to reach for Jesus, and we already know that's going to end badly. We already know that's not going to end any place we want to be, but still in our own bullheadedness, which, is a problem I don't suffer from. Now, I know some of you may, but I'm not a bullhead. And I just made a whole bunch of people who know me laugh right there. But, we know we should pray. We know we should go to church. We know we should go have a conversation with the pastor. We know that we should, read something wholesome. We know we should engage in some activity. We know we should go to Joyce Koenig's house and carry boxes. We know we should do that. But instead, we're just going to sit here and be mad. Just going to sit here and be upset. And we already know, we already know that's not going to lead to any place good. It's not going to lead to anything positive. We're not going to feel better because of that. But we still do it. I know we do it because this guy does it. And, it's difficult to face hardships. And remember, he's always by our side. Shift our focus to him, to our circumstance. That's true. We do all that stuff. And we do it quickly. And we do it easily. And in fact, that's one of the things we're going to talk. In fact, before we sign off here tonight, I want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen on Sunday. We're going to have a pre-sermon discussion because it kind of revolves around this. And I'd like to get some input from you guys on the sermon for Sunday. But yeah, it's so easy to allow the world to distract us away. That's what the world is designed to do. That's what Satan loves to do. Yeah. And eventually that's what happens, Scott. You eventually descend to the point and you fight with it to the point and you bullhead to the point that Jesus is all you got left. And every time you get to that point, and I myself have been there many times, I know all of you have too, you get there and you think, why did I wait so long? I knew it was going to come to this anyways. Why didn't I just do it right the first time? You're mad at yourself. It's like I'm going to punch myself in the head because that you're just so frustrated with yourself that that ostracizing yourself from God and pulling yourself away from God, it's not doing anything good for you. And we all know that. And I can imagine during the 12 years that this poor lady dealt with this, there were times she felt farther away from God and was angry. How could she not? But on this day, she decided she was going to be close to Jesus, and I think that's a wonderful thing for her to decide. Bring me peace. Bring me. Oh yes, mercy me. I was like, what? Yeah. I don't know that I've heard this song. Anything that brings you glory, I know. Maybe I have heard this song. I know their famous one is I Can Only Imagine, but yeah, good lyrics. Yeah, good lyrics, definitely. And that sometimes that is what it takes, DW. You're absolutely right, my man. It's about how we can go through some stuff in order to get to the point that we are ready to reach out, and if we could just grab the hem of his garment, that would be sufficient. But you're right. It takes a while to get there, and perhaps it took this lady 12 years to get there. In fact, that's my next question. One of the things she says in verse 28 of Mark chapter 5, verse 28, she says, to herself, she says, if I can just touch his clothes, she thinks I will be healed. That's in verse 28. What made her decide that? Because there is literally no scriptural evidence of this. In that long explanation I went through a few minutes ago about how Jesus was so powerful that his purity actually went to her impurity and helped her to be whole. And so I'm asking, what do you think would make her decide that? What was it about Jesus that made her decide if I can just, get that robe, get a hold of that robe, that'll be enough? What made her think that? Hey, party has arrived. Joyce Koenig, we were just talking about you, in fact. And I was inviting the folks to come over and help carry some boxes if they're available on Saturday, Joyce. And we're looking forward to being a part of getting you in your new house over here by the church. Gretchen says, when I sit in church, I do a lot of private prayers to Jesus and God. Rather, it's thanking them or asking for help. And that's why we call. I mean, y'all know what is the place we call the place we have church? What do we call that room? We call it the sanctuary. Sanctuary means safe place. We don't allow bad stuff to come in there ever. And we will, make sure that we watch out not only for ourselves, but our job is to provide a safe space for everybody. And Gretchen, that is exactly what's supposed to happen there. Sometimes, when people feel threatened, I've had people who in churches before, and I don't know if I should even tell you this, but who were scared of situations of people coming and doing violence to them. And I've had them come to church, and I said, look, we don't allow it in here. We're not going to have it in here. And if it happens, we're going to take care of it. Because we don't allow violence in this place. We don't allow threats. People are not in danger when they're here, period. And I'm not going to have it any other way. So that's why we provide. So it's people, like you said, Gretchen, can have a moment to connect with God because, and go right into Teresa's comment here, it's a desperation of the situation. And sometimes getting to that safe place takes many different forms. For this lady, it was the hem of Jesus's garment. Look, I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I would love if Jesus was still out walking around and I could grab the hem of his garment, because if he was still here today, I'd feel the same way. And I think that her faith and the miracles that she'd witnessed, as Scott mentioned here, the desperation that she felt took her to the point that she knew she had to get there. Well, friends, I want to encourage you in this time in which we live. It's a bizarre time, to say the least. To don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to say, if I can just be in Jesus's presence. Don't be distant from church, whether you're physically in the building or if you're joining us on YouTube or whatever. Again, obviously we'd love to have people here, but I completely understand why people aren't. But there's still a way to connect. I'm working, guys. I'm working real hard trying to figure out how to get us together. That's why I was excited to have Elise here tonight, because at least give you somebody to connect with. And, to be able to, track attendance and track who's there and that kind of stuff. It just, I just feel like it's important for us to feel as connected as possible. And I try to make phone calls and I send text messages and stuff. And I know I'm way behind, but, just trying to have a conversation with people to let people know that, we still remember. And those things are still happening. DW says faith feels like faith gets stronger in hard times rather than the good times. I completely agree with that statement. Maybe not in the moment that it's happening, but after we come through those hard times, definitely then. And she would have had the same faith if she wasn't in that situation. Would she have had the same faith if she wasn't in that situation? That's a very good question, because again, we have no way to know, but I can speculate the answer is probably no. If she didn't have this problem, her desire to grab the hem of his garment, honestly, may not even have existed. But because she did have the problem and had the problem for a significant amount of time, she knew where she needed to get to. So, and Dave and Amy agree. So very good. So sometimes it takes that moment of desperation to be able to, push us out of our comfort zone. Because I can imagine being someone who was ostracized from the community and knew that you were impure and knew that you were, out of bounds and whatever. For her to even go into a very, very public place like that, to face somebody of Jesus's stature, that's a pretty bold move. I think we all can agree with that. That's a pretty bold move. And but Jesus, in the way only Jesus can do it, was very, very kind and very, very loving toward her. And again, he had an advantage because he had the power to have the purity go from him to cancel her impurity. But that was a very bold thing to do on her part, and it's just wonderful to read that story and see Jesus reward her boldness with healing. I think that's wonderful. Okay. All right, so I've made it pretty clear throughout the course of this discussion, and that's going to become relevant here, is that this lady broke a lot of rules, a lot of social norms, and stepped out of bounds of what would have been acceptable behavior at the time, because she was not to be out touching people and being in a public place like that, and that was a great big old no. But the amazing thing is, Jesus is on his way to heal Jairus' daughter, okay, and he has this moment where this woman grabs a hold of his robe and is healed. He only commends one person for their faith that day, and that is this woman who broke all the rules. And I think that's something that it bears noticing, because she was willing to step way outside of her comfort zone to go forward, and Jesus commended her for that. Nice job being willing to step out and do something that, by rights you probably shouldn't have done. But because of where your heart was and who you knew you were going to encounter in this move, kudos to you. And what a great commendation that Jesus, singled her out for a blessing, because not only the blessing of healing, but he commends her by saying, your faith did this. I mean, that's a pretty high compliment if you ask me. And all right, and getting back to DW's point, was that he made very, very eloquently, probably better than I'm about to, talking about the difference between, what would have happened to her had she not had this issue, and what happened since she did. Would she have thought that I need to get out there and get close to Jesus? I mean, we could certainly speculate. I mean, there's plenty of room here to speculate that she probably would not have had that desire. So, and Max says that also here on page 113. He says a healthy woman never would appreciated the power of a touch of the hem of his robe. Again, she would have no reason to look for that. And my note that I wrote on this sentence is, first of all, why not? Which I think we've already covered that. But the second question is, what does that tell us about the nature of faith? The fact that DW suggested, and I think very accurately, that she probably would not have been there to touch his robe that day had she not had this problem. The fact that it was the problem that forced her into a situation where she had to believe. What does this story tell us about the nature of faith? I'm curious as to your thoughts on that. What does this story about this lady who received a tremendous blessing, not only the blessing of being healed, but the blessing of accommodation from Jesus, which is high praise? Anna Kay, I think you got a typo in that line. But what does that tell us about the nature of faith? What does the fact that Jesus commends her and she has this experience that she would not have had she not have been ill, what does that tell us about the nature of faith? Somebody get in here and somebody talk to me. What does this story teach us about faith and the nature of faith and why we have it and what it's supposed to do? What does this tell us about the nature of faith? Okay, Scott, that I didn't think of it from that angle, but you've got a good point there. The God who spoke the world into existence felt the power leave him. That's Yeah, I mean that's a pretty amazing thing because honestly, in the greater scheme of things, this was a big deal to this lady. I'm absolutely sure it was, but I don't know that it was a big deal in the greater scheme of things. So you're right. The fact that this relatively small thing was something that Jesus had a pretty profound experience over. I think you're right. That is very cool. Dave and Amy say we need tough times to grow. I think that's a big amen because if we don't have those tough times, again, much like this lady, much like some of the experiences that we all have had, we would not grow and not see what we're made of. It's a strong driving force. Adversity certainly is, Gretchen, and I think that sometimes when we go through these challenging times and difficult circumstances and we hurt and we're scared and those kind of things, or we feel insecure, or we have questions, or we have doubts, or we feel lonely, or we're kind of feel like an outcast, or we don't know where we fit in. To have somebody reach forward and embrace us, that is a wonderful thing. And that is a wonderful thing to feel accepted. It's a wonderful thing to feel welcome to somebody who hasn't felt welcome for a long time. That's a wonderful gift. And so sometimes we don't appreciate those things until we don't have them anymore. And the experience then of having them withheld, I think is the word I'm looking for, have them withheld to then receiving them. What a blessing. And Gretchen, so you're absolutely right. It's a very strong driving force. Let's see. Faith is hope in action, mentally and physically. I would add to that, Teresa, and you're right. It was her faith that put her in motion and brought her to that place. Hard times bring us closer to God, and again, I agree with you 100%. We may not always think, oh, look at this horrible thing that happened. I'm going to feel closer to God when this is over. Probably not what we're thinking in the moment, but that is often the result. I can say that from my own life and some of the terrible things I've been through. They did bring me closer to God. Maybe not in the moment, but they eventually got around to it. Faith is life-changing. Yes, again, her life changed a lot because had she not been there that day and grabbed a hold of his robe, I mean, I could say who knows what's going to happen, but I think we actually do know what's happened. She would continue to be ill. We find faith, Christ for the first time. We usually go through hard times. That's normally what delivers us at Christ's doorstep, DW, as you well know. Those challenges help give us the gumption to step out of our comfort zone, and God often has a blessing for us that doesn't come until the right time, which not something we're exactly happy about or thrilled with, but those things do come along, and it's important for us to be able to embrace those things and be a part of what's going on. And so, yeah. Gretchen says it took her out of her comfort zone to do something she normally wouldn't do, and yes, it is. And it is wonderful to receive those things, and I tell you, of the many lessons I learned during 2020, and boy, 2020 was like a PhD course in life for me. But of all the things that I learned, one of the things that I value is the fact that there are a lot of blessings in life. And having had a lot of them withdrawn over the past, year, makes us appreciate what it's like to hug somebody. What it's like to go to somebody's house or go do something fun, or go to a movie, or go, someplace and have an experience. Those things are wonderful, wonderful things to have. And I don't know that I would be sitting here tonight saying that with this kind of conviction had I not lost all that for an entire year. And I'm sure that if everybody who was there that day that Jesus was walking through this crowd, the person who appreciated having health the most was this lady, without a doubt. So Scott agrees with DW, and that's a good thing. Skylar, through challenges, you have to put your faith and trust in God, because that's all you got. I mean, there literally is nothing else. And so it's very important for us to be willing to take that step. And sometimes all the other steps have to be taken away before we're willing to take that one. Again, that's back to the bullheaded thing. but that's what gets us there. And if we don't get there, if you don't get there, you don't get there, I guess is what you could say. And that's an important thing. Sue says she could have blamed God, which I'm sure she did at certain parts. Instead, her faith was strong. It was strong enough to get her out that day. And I'm sure in 12 years is a long time. I'm sure she blamed God at some point along the way, but she got over that. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but she was willing to be there, be present that day when Jesus was there, and had something wonderful happen to her, which was great. The faith is strong in this one, yes. Unlike Darth Vader says about the Force, right, Teresa? Gretchen, I love going to the movies, and I remember that. Yes, I remember the movies too, and I hope the movies are coming back, but I'm a little worried about movie theaters. But that's a whole nother issue. Scott says that God usually leads us kicking and screaming to the first encounter with Him. Yes, true. And I don't know how much kicking and screaming this lady had done on this day, but yeah, normally the first encounter is the tough one, and and I'm sure she experienced that as well. And that's something that we want to get to. All right, let me scan through this chapter here and see if there's anything else I want to pull out. All right, I'm skipping over to page 115 for any of you who have the book. One of the things that Max said here that kind of jumped out to me, because I'm sure this is true, I just never thought of it before, was he says that Jesus was moved by the scene of faith. We think about how wonderful this would have been for Jairus, because Jairus got his daughter back. How wonderful this would have been for this lady, because she got her health back. Wonderful for everybody. But Max makes the observation that Jesus was also moved. And if you listen to Jesus' response, your faith has made you well. That's a very endearing thing to say, to somebody, to say that your faith has made you well. That it is. It's a very endearing thing to say, and it's very wonderful to experience something like that. So I think that's what Jesus was getting to, was just how important it was to him to witness this. Because remember, her faith, we're talking about faith as this kind of abstract concept. It really isn't. Faith means she believed in him. And look, if any of you have ever had anybody place faith and trust in you, man, that is a wonderful experience. I'm not talking about, giving you the thumbs up and an attaboy. I mean a real, placing faith in you and how they want you to be a part of whatever's going on. And to be able to provide those experiences, man, that is a wonderful thing to experience. And so her faith was in Jesus. So again, I'm not saying that Jesus was being a jerk about it, but I bet for him to witness somebody saying, I believe in you this much, how could that not be something wonderful for Jesus to experience? We all like to have people put faith in us and believe in us and trust us. We will love that. And there's no reason to think God didn't like that either. It just makes sense. So Gretchen agrees with you, Scott. The kicking and screaming thing, I think we've all done some of that kicking and screaming. Joy says the house I purchased was a gift from God. She's told me that story, and I can second that. It was. Was not looking for a house, but I trusted God and it's been an awesome journey for the past 3 months. Yeah, Joyce told me the story about getting this house. You want to talk about a crazy set of scenarios, and both buying the house and selling the one that she has. And Joyce, I'm going to be entirely honest with you. It could not happen to a nicer person. So we're all happy for you in that house, and we hope you're going to be happy in your little house right over here by the church. And we're excited for that for you. So, all right, let's see if there's anything else here I want to get. I think that's all I'm going to do with the chapter, because I do want to talk about Sunday a little bit. Anybody got any last comments on this chapter before we do a little sermon talk? I better not say that. You're all going to click out. Before we do a little Sunday reflection, can I get away with that? Anybody else got anything here? And I do want to, and we're going to talk about Sunday just for a minute. If you don't have any feedback about the chapter, that's fine. I would like some just some feedback from you as to how you're receiving the current sermon series. It's kind of an odd series we're having. If you heard them, it's we've been having sermons on scriptures we don't read in church. So I've read some kind of off the wall stuff, and had sermons on those. Have you been enjoying those? I haven't gotten a lot of feedback from them, and I'm worried I'm turning people off. So I'm just wondering. I've got you here, my captive audience, so to speak. Are you enjoying that? We had the Jesus and killing the fig tree a couple weeks ago, and then the women be silent in church 2 weeks ago, and then last Sunday was the holy crap, what was last Sunday? I just forgot. I totally forgot what last Sunday's sermon was. I guess I should look this up. It's completely gone from my mind. See, this is why I never ask anybody if they like the sermon from last week, because I can never remember. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, my phone's in airplane mode. Of course, it's not going to work. So, somebody tell me what the sermon last week was about, because the pastor's an idiot and can't remember. Because I've been working on this week's sermon, and that's what I want to talk about. Sacrifice. That's right. The sacrifice of the daughter. How in the heck did I forget that? Yeah, we talked about how we should pray and search out how we do that. Just curious of what you thought about some of these off the wall sermons and things. Because the one this week's going to be way off the wall. Yeah, Jesus killing the fig tree was pretty weird, Amy. Interesting, learn new things, Dave and Amy. That's good. New insight, Cheryl. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, DW, and that's actually part of what I wanted you to get from this series was that it shows the Bible is fluid and different people read things differently, and that's true. And I tell you what, the one from Sunday, we're going to look at that in a way different way than it normally comes through, and I'm gonna go over what that's going to be here in a minute. But yeah, we got a scripture passage. It's kind of odd. It's one of those scripture passages that either a pastor will be like, I'm staying way away from that one, or they're the kind of pastors like, I want to read that one every week. It's one of those kind of weird scripture passages, and I don't know that I've ever had a sermon over. I've had lots of conversations about it, but this one from Sunday, I don't know that this is one that's kind of way off the wall. Scott says, good, not heard some of the scriptures. Well, the one from this Sunday, I guarantee you've heard. It's probably one of the most famous scripture passages in the whole Bible, yet we never read it in church. It's one that's often discussed outside of church. And that's why I wanted to pull it out for this series. Yeah, the scripture passage for this week is going to be from Revelation. What do we got here? Revelation chapter 11, I think it is. We're looking at the mark of the beast this Sunday. So we're going to look at the 666 and what that is, and talk a little bit about what the mark could be and things. And this is one that freaks people out, which is why I kind of want to have a conversation with you guys about it before Sunday. And I've done some work with it this week, and I've got an interpretation that's either going to get me burned at the stake or hoisted up on your shoulders as a hero. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but that's what I would like to talk about this Sunday, because again, it's a scripture we don't read in church, at least not very often. And it's the part from the mark on the forehead or the back of the hand. Yeah, I'm sure, Scott. I'm sure you've heard that one before. This is probably one of the passages that is most often quoted or talked about by people who don't go to church or don't have a great Christian affiliation. This is one they get really stuck on, really, really uptight about. And that's what I want to talk with you about the mark of the beast, because not that I think it's coming anytime soon or whatever. Actually, I think it's coming. Well, come Sunday, find out about that. But I think the idea is that we are looking for the wrong thing when we're thinking the mark of the beast. And that's what I'd like to have a conversation about on Sunday. So, yeah, if you want to go read it, you can find it easily right there in the middle of the book of Revelation. But enjoying the one about women being silent. It was nice to hear a male comment on it. I'm not sure how to take that, NK. So that was one I think I ticked off the most people. So I'm not sure that one was a good one or a keeper. But again, it's scriptures we don't read in church, and then some of them were kind of tough. But I wanted to hit on this one this week, and it's going to be a positive and uplifting sermon, and that's what I mean it to be. So I'm not trying to be a downer, but I feel like that passage is in there. It's one that a lot of people have questions about. It's one that a lot of people get real hung up about. I can remember myself, there was a long time in my life I was absolutely terrified by it. And I want to give some people some perspective on that whole topic. So that's the way I want to. Okay, yeah, I'm sure, Anna Kay, you probably heard a lot of female perspectives on that women silent church thing. I'm glad you enjoyed that one. So I'm trying to find ways to keep sermons interesting, because I know it gets boring listening to me week after week after week, and I'm trying to get some scripture passages that are a little different, push me outside of my own comfort zone, and give you guys something engaging to listen to, because I know sometimes that's hard to do, and I'm hard to listen to sometimes. But so I'm trying to give you guys a variety, or find some interesting scripture passages to try to just make it engaging, because I feel like it's very, very important. Did you read what Mike texted you yesterday? Did Mike text me yesterday? Let me look. I don't think I got a text from Mike yesterday, Tina. Whatever it is, can you send it to me again? My phone is off right now, but if you would send it to me again, I didn't get anything from him yesterday. So, yeah, if you would text me that again, I'll be happy to comment on it. In fact, if you want to write it here in the chat, I'll talk about it live if you want. So, you got a minute here if you want to type it out real quick, or give me some idea what it was. I didn't get a text from him yesterday. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's what we're going to look at. Oh, well, thank you, Gretchen. It's so hard week after week to come up with stuff, and I want you guys to want to be here and be excited about being here. To me, that's very, very important, and I really want you to be engaged by the topic, and the other thing is Daryl and Josh do such a just amazing job. Just go up there and crush it every single week, and they make me work to be able to give you something that will be on par with what they're offering, because they're just absolutely crushing it. So I want to be able to keep up with the quality that they're offering. So, well, thank you, Gretchen, and thank you, Amy. Yes, please give us a thumbs up before you log out here tonight. So, Tina and Mike, I want you guys to send me whatever you sent me. I didn't get it, so go ahead and drop it on my phone. I want to turn my phone on as soon as I log out here. Okay. All right. Yeah, send it to me again, because I would like to see it. I don't know why I didn't get it. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Teresa. All right, guys. I think it's time to call it a night here. It's been here for a while today, so I appreciate you guys all very much. And Gretchen, you tell Elise that she's not getting off the hook. I want her to come in here and be on this with me some night, so you guys get a chance to meet her, and we can broaden our horizons a little bit. Appreciate you guys all very much. Love you all very much. Look forward to seeing you Sunday, either online or live in the church. And, don't be a stranger. Let me know what's happening. So, love you all very much. And y'all know what you need to go do now. In the great words of Daryl Louth, go wash your hands.